We will move on right away to session 1. And the first session will be moderated by Mr. Sang-woo Lee, Director General of the Korea Maritime Institute. We have 3 presentations ready for the first session. Let me invite Mr. Lee. And we also have one more Korean gentleman, Mr. Park Sok-tae Park, one of the presenters of the session 1. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Sang-woo Lee. I'm Director General at Korea Maritime Institute. Due to the unprecedented for the first time in the history, we are having a very interesting seminar due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have obviously offline participants here gathered together, but we also have online participants joining via Zoom platform. If everything runs fine, I would expect nothing more, but obviously, we may bump into some technical difficulties in the middle, so to that end, I'd like to ask for your understanding in advance. And starting the first session of the seminar today, once again, I will be serving as the moderator. As mentioned by Mr. Chudi in the keynote presentation and also highlighted by many others before, the NSR has been almost 10 years that were used and gaining interest. So we had accomplishments. I mean, in the past, of course, it's also true that we had some fantasies and far-reaching hopes. But now we have a better understanding and we can now see more clearly about the way forward. And now from Russia, we have, of course, they have strategies to accomplish by 2035. So this will, of course, set a kind of a big picture, setting a clear direction for the Northern Sea route to develop. So roughly 3 to 4 years ago, only 6 million tons of cargo transported via the NSR. But of course, this year it will be much more than that. Roughly 33 million, I believe. And in Russia, based on their plan, by 2035, they expect to have more than 130 million tons or so. To look back on the steps we've taken so far, we have a gentleman from Russia, and we will look upon the developments or progress we have for the last 10 years. And the second presenter from China, from COSCO Shipping, will also share with us experience with International Arctic Treasure of Chinese shipping company. And last but not least, in the first session, from Korea, we have one gentleman from Sinocor, also presenting on NSR development progress and plan. So that will wrap up the first session. Okay, then. So for the first presenter of the session, the main results of navigation in the water area of the Northern Sea route in 2020, we have Mr. Nikolai Munko from Russia. Once again, the first speaker of session 1 is Mr. Nikolai Munko, acting head of NSRA Russia. His presentation will be delivered online. Please.
Slide 1. Report by Nikolai Manko, acting head the Northern Sea Route Administration. Assessment of the result of 10 navigation season in the water area of the Northern Sea Route. Dear Chairman, dear participants, the Northern Sea Route is key factor in the development of the Arctic and a major infrastructure project of global importance. Making the Northern Sea Route a truly international and competitive transport corridor is a key priority. The economic growth of the Arctic zone of the Russian Federation is reasonably associated with the implementation of large investment projects for the development of mineral resources. Oil and gas extraction projects play nowadays and will play in the future a fundamental role. But also oil and coal development projects will be implemented. Within international treaties, the Russian Federation, as is a coastal state, has accepted certain commitments in the sphere of providing a set of navigation services in the Northern Sea Route water area. What had been done over the past 10 years in these regards? Slide 2. In updated legislation, the Russian Federation is guided by the norms of international law, including Article 234 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea of 1982, which provides the coastal states the right to adopt national laws and regulations to prevent, reduce, and control marine pollution from vessels in ice-covered areas within their exclusive economic zone. In order to implement the rights conferred by the convention, in 2012 the Russian Federation adopted the corresponding federal law. This law created the condition to centralize administration of the Northern Sea Route and equal access for interested transporters, including foreign. For the first time, the law sets for the boundaries of the water area of the Northern Sea Route. This slide shows the borders of the water area of the Northern Sea Route. Slide 3. The law introduced a permitting procedure for navigation of ships in the water area of the Northern Sea Route. Rules of navigation in water area of the Northern Sea Route were adopted in 2013. The rules specify the order of administration of shipping in area of the Northern Sea Route and requirements for vessels, ensuring safety of navigation and prevention pollution of marine environment from vessels. In the light of experience of sea navigating in the water area of Northern Sea Route since 2013, new versions of rule of navigation in water area of Northern Sea Route had been adopted in 2020. According to the rules of 2020, the organization of navigation of ships in water area of Northern Sea Route is carried out by the Marine Operation Headquarters, a special navigation service established by the state's corporation Rosatom. Headquarters is mandated to ensure icebreaking assistance for ships and escort of ships along the navigable waterways in the water area of Northern Sea Route, develop routes for navigation of ships. According to new version of the rules of permission are issued by the Northern Sea Route Administration in agreement with the Marine Operation Headquarters. Slide 4. This slide shows the areas of hydrographic services, hydrographic surveys of high latitude route for ships with a draft of more than 12 meters that were executed during the period 2011-2020. Slide 5. Hydrographic surveys were performed with the use of ARC 5 ice-class vessels equipped with a multi-beam echo-sounders, which can guarantee full coverage of the strip on the seabed along the route of hydrographic vessels. The nautical charts were updated on the result of seafloor slope surveys. Slide 6. Within the framework of the realization of obligation on the Russian Federation, in accordance with the Search and Rescue 79 International Convention, Marine Rescue Coordination Center Dixon and some centers TIXI and PEVEC were established since 2012 in the search and rescue areas of the Arctic seas. During the navigation season 2013, advanced deployment station outfitted with the necessary equipment to ensure readiness for the emergency rescue operations were arranged in the port of Dixon, TIXI, PEVEC, and Providenie. Slide 7. The slide contains information about evacuation of a sick crew member from board of the Nikolai Trubyachinsky vessel to the hospital in the port of Styx and the tactic and technical characteristic of the helicopter that carried out the rescue operations. Analysis of the results of transportation of mineral commodities. Over the past 10 years, the marine terminals of Kara Sea have played a key role in shaping the cargo flow on the Northern Sea route. They provide oil, gas condensate, ore, and liquefied natural gas export. Slide 8. Active projects. Yamal-LNG, Novoportovskoye, Norilsk, Pelyatkinskoye are fully equipped with the port infrastructure. The construction of ports infrastructure of Arctic LNG 2, Terminal Utreniy of Seaport Sabeta, is carried out in line with schedule. The slide shows the LNG terminal in the port of Sabeta. The seaport of Sabeta is designed for marine transportation of natural gas and gas condensate from the South Steinbeitskoye gas condensate field to Western European countries and to the countries in the American and in the Asia-Pacific region. The LNG terminal in the port of Sabeta was built from scratch on the Yamal Peninsula in the 2013-2018 years. More detailed information about the development of the port infrastructure and icebreaking fleet construction will be provided in the next report. Slide 9. In the period 2016-2019, a fleet of 15 Yamal Max LNG carriers was built for the project. All vessels have Arc 7 ice class. On conditions of short-term freight, Arc 4 and Ice 2 ice class vessels were also used. All these vessels navigated under the foreign flag by the decision of the Russian government are allowed to transport LNG from the seaport of Sabet until December 30th, 2043. Shipping of the products of the first stage of the plant started on December 8, 2017. The second on August 9, 2018, and with the launch of the third stage of November 22, 2018, the plant reached the planned parameters 16.5 million tons per year. Actual output of the plant turned out to be higher than the design one. In 2019, when all stages of the plant were in operation, the volume of LNG production was 18.4 million tons. The excessive level of capacity was 11.5%. Arc 7 I-class vessels operate all year round. Arc 4 and Ice 2 ice-class vessels operate only during the summer-autumn period with the time frame established by the rule of navigation. The involvement of the vessel of Ice 2 and Arc 4 ice-class made it possible to ensure the uniformity of the export of LNG due to the fact that some of the Yamal Mals vessels carried out direct LNG deliveries along the Northern Sea route to the east to the port of China and South Korea with a long duration of voyages in the summer-autumn period 2019 and 2020. Condensate shipment began in January 2018. For the condensate export, initially the Arc 4 ice-class tankers of the SKF Don and Temzerstein types were used. Slide 10. In 2019, the condensate was transported by two Ark-7 ice-class tanks built for the project with a dead weight of 43,000 tons. Boris Sokolov and Yuri Kuchev dead weights on 50,000 tons. From the beginning of operation of Yuri Kuchev tanker, the use of Ark-4 ice-class vessels became unnecessary. Since the start of shipment, 45.5 million tons of LNG and 2.3 million tons of condensate have been exported from the seaport of Sabeta as at December 1st, 2020. Slide 11. Shipment of oil of Novoportovsky field via the Sabeta port Arctic Gates oil loading terminal began on May 25, 2016. A special tanker fleet of 7 Ark-7 ice-class vessels with a dead weight of 41,000 tons was built for the project. On the slide you can see the fuels of the Ark-7 ice-class tankers built for the year-round export of oil from the Novoportovsky field. From the May 25, 2016, 30.1 million tons of oil were exported from the Arctic Gates oil loading terminal as of December 1st, 2020. Slide 12. This slide presents the general information of the annual volumes of cargo transportation on Northern Sea route from 2011 to 2020, including transit cargo. In 2020, 30 million and 257,000 tons were transported as of December 1st, 2020. The growth of cargo volume transportation along the Northern Sea route has increased almost tenfold since 2011. Slide 13. The top graph shows the general information of the transit cargo volumes transported along the Northern Sea route from 2011 to 2020. The quantity of vessel transit voyages is shown on the lower graph. In 2020, 1,281,000 tons of cargo were transported as at December 1st, 2020. Total number of transit voyages, 61. 21 of them in ballast. Transit voyage is defined as the sailing of the vessel from the western border to the eastern border of the Northern Sea route, or vice versa, from the eastern border to the western border without freight operations in the port and points of the Northern Sea route. Slide 14. Let me remind you that the rules of navigation in the water of the Northern Sea route established a permitting procedure for the navigation of ships. A function of issue of permissions is imposed on the Northern Sea route administration. This slide shows information about the number of permissions issued by the Northern Sea route administration for the period from 2013 to December 1st, 2020. Slide 15. This slide gives information about foreign companies, foreign flags, which obtained permission for ships navigation in the water area of the Northern Sea route. As evident in this slide, ships from 46 countries worked in the water area of the Northern Sea route from 2013 to 2020. This slide also provides information on the number of applications submitted by foreign shipowners for obtaining permissions for ships navigating in water area of the Northern Sea route. Slide 16. On September 2, 2019, for the first time in the history of the Northern Sea route, a large capacity oil tanker, Korolev Prospect, has crossed the full water area of the Northern Sea route from west to east, using oil LNG fuel as its primary fuel. Then transit from Cape Желания to Cape Dezhnev took 7 days and 6 hours. 104,000 tons of crude oil were delivered from Murmansk port to the port of Qingdao, China by this tanker. Slide 17. Conclusions. Over the past decade, a lot of work has been done in the field of construction and modernization of seaports of the Northern Sea Route, infrastructure development of the Northern Sea Route, improvement of the legislative framework and organization of Arctic navigation. The boundaries of the water area of the Northern Sea Route have been legally established. Construction of port infrastructure for Yamal LNG and Novoportovskoye project have been completed. Construction of a series of 15 Arc-7 ice-class gas tankers of Yamal Max for the Yamal LNG project have been completed. Construction of a series of 7 Arc-7 ice-class tankers for the Novoportovskoye project have been completed. Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in Dixon and the Marine Rescue Sub-Centers in Tiksi and Pevek have been established. And at the end of May 2020, the transition from Sabeta to the port of China along the Northern Sea Route of LNG tankers Christophe de Margerie and LNG tanker Vladimir Voronin followed lead, confirmed the possibility of substantial increase of navigation window in the eastern sector of the Arctic. The voyages confirmed the reliability and design solution and engineering system, high icebreaking capability and maneuverability performance of Yamal types LNG tankers. At the same time, an analysis of the operation of vessels in the water area of the Northern Sea Route revealed shortcomings which should be addressed. It's necessary to improve the quantity of and reliability of communications, to increase the efficiency of such a rescue operation in heavy ice conditions, to ensure timely provision of medical care to crew members of vessels, in order to create conditions for safe navigation for providing rhythmic cargo transportation in the winter-spring period in the eastern direction of the Northern Sea Route, it's necessary to continue the practice of performing experimental voyages in the period of heavy ice conditions, February-May. Such voyages allow to identify most accurately needs for icebreaking fleet, to access the functioning of navigational, hydrometeorological, and search and rescue services, and improve the tactics and of icebreaking assistance for large capacity vessels in heavy ice conditions. Slide 18. Welcome to the Northern Sea Route. Slide 19. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was Mr. Nikolai Monko, the acting head of NSRA. He shared the assessment of the navigation for 10 years in the water area of the Northern Sea Route, how it started, and he has given us a series of updates on what kind of activities have done and what kind of improvement has been made with regard to the Northern Sea Route. And he also touched upon the various challenges, such as the rescue, search and rescue, as well as the communications. Although slowly, well, there has been some improvement. And he also mentioned improvement in terms of the port infrastructure. And finally, he shared with us the direction we have to pursue going forward. Thank you very much for sharing your experience as well as the insight. Then now I'd like to turn to one of the users of the Northern Sea route from China, Mr. Tan Pan, General Director of Coastal Shipping Specialized Carrier of China, will talk about Arctic shipping experience and expectation. Please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Chen Feng, coming from the Casco Shipping Specialized Carrier as General Director and a Senior Economist of Marketing and Sales Center. Also, as guested professor of Iceland Research Center of the University of Jinan, China. It's my pleasure to show you my presentation about Arctic shipping experience and expectation, including 5 parts. Part 1 about Casco Shipping Specialized Carrier, or Group. Casco Shipping Group comprises of 1,371 vessels with a capacity of 109 million tons. Our company, Casco Shipping Specialized Carrier, is core member of Casco Shipping Group and as a leading company in breakbulk shipping industry worldwide, owning and operating more than 130 vessels, including semi-submersible vessel, heavy lift vessel, multi-purpose vessel, pulp carrier, fuel car carrier, asphalt carrier, and log carrier. Casco Shipping Specialized Carrier are ready to offer worldwide shipping service and supply chain logistics service to all customers globally. Part 2 about Arctic shipping practice. We have 33 vessels with 42 voyages completed totally from 2013 to 2020 with shipping via Arctic Oceans. I show you details for each year. In 2020, we had 11 voyages, including 5 westbound and 6 eastbound. In 2019, we have 9 voyages, including 4 westbound and 5 eastbound. In 2018, we have 8 voyages, including 4 westbound and 4 eastbound. In 2017, we have 5 voyages, including 3 westbound and 2 eastbound. In 2013, we have 6 voyages, including 3 westbound and 4 eastbound. We have vessel Yongsheng completed the first single westbound voyage in 2013 and the long trip of Arctic sailing in 2015. The vessel departed from Taichung, China on 15 October 2013, with arriving Rotterdam on 10 September. It took total 72 days. Part 3 performance. Our vessels are possibly calling in 3 regions. In Arctic regions, we call mainly in Baltic ports like Helsinki, Kotka, Finland, Varberg, Gävle, Sweden, Denmark, Russia, Lithuania. Also possibly to call continental and the UK like Hamburg, Rotterdam. Possibly calling it Icelandic ports and North American ports when clients ask. Also possibly in Arctic regions like Kirkenes, Norway, Murmansk, Sabat, Dudinka in Russia. Also in Far East region, we call mainly in China, Jiangsu province like Taichung, Lianyungang, Jiangyin, Dafeng, mainly for westbound voyage. Also in Shandong province like Qingdao, Weifang, Rizhao ports, mainly for eastbound voyage, as well as calling it Shanghai, Tianjin, Dalian, Guangzhou. Also we called Tomakomai in Japan and Busan in Korea, and possibly many other ports in Asia, also called in Daning, Vietnam. In far east of Russia, some ports like Vladivostok and Nahodka, possibly. About the cargo category and the volume shipped by our vessel via Arctic Ocean, we totally carried 1.38 million tons over past year, including such kind of cargo showing on picture. For eastbound from North Atlantic, we carried wood pulp, timber, ore concentrate, grain, steel cargo. For westbound from Far East, we carried mainly project cargo, like wind project cargo, railway project cargo, wagon and rail, power plant project cargo, chemical project cargo, oil drilling project cargo. Also other deck cargo like barge, dock boat, yachts, RTG lift. Performance the advantage of shipping. It shortened the transport time with time saving for about 10 days per voyage for consignee to receive goods early. The sailing time for 42 voyages were decreased by 508.5 days. It reduced the emission of carbon dioxide of 45,450 tons. It reduced the fuel consumption of 14,550 tons. It had a cost saving pretty much in comparing with the convention shipping via Suez, when fuel saving, vessel fixed cost saving for 10 days and others. All those cost save looks not a small figure, which has significant economic benefit for MPP vessels sailing via Arctic Ocean. It reduced also the risk of pilot in other area. So you can see the figure about benefit in detail for each year. Also, we make the statistics analyze about voyage. You can see the total voyage for last 3 years, the 2022 for 28, 2,694 for last year, 2,266 for this year until end of October. We divided those in 3 situations. Situation 1, both loading and unloading port within Northern Sea Road. It's about 27. One port, either loading port or discharging port within Northern Sea Road. It's about 2/3. Both port loading and unloading are not in the Northern Sea Road. Its transit voyage are quite a small number. 27 for 2018, 37 for 2019, 44 voyages for this year. COSCO has 8 voyages in 2018, 9 voyages in 2019, 11 voyages for this year. It's about 24 to 30% of voyage number. For cargo volume, it's about 40%. Part 4 achievement. A. To follow navigation guidance and QHSE rules is basic for safety sailing. B. It's extremely important to issue and update the operation manual gradually as per own experience. Right side, please find the copy of Polo Water Operation Manual and Heavy Cargo Securing Guide, which was added on basis of our own performance of shipping via Arctic Ocean. Achievement C. The crew member must be trained to acknowledge information about Arctic Ocean and the Northeast Passage, and each voyage should be guided by experienced crews. Achievement D. The company has to create the voyage plan with operating specifications, emerging measures for each voyage before sailing. Achievement E. It's basic requirement to cooperate with partners, with icebreak pilot service provided, with information provided of ice condition, weather, and act, with emerging assistance. Achievement 5. We are still facing the challenge of shipping via Arctic Ocean. The navigable period via Arctic Northeast Passage is mostly from July to October only, not regularly. The climate of Arctic Northeast Passage is changeable. Shippers sailing with instant information of weather limited. The infrastructure construction along the passage is undeveloped. Reliable navigation information is still limited. Achievement G. Development philosophy. After 7 years sailing experience, we realized to serve international trade between Northern Europe and the Far East smoothly, quickly, green environment protection when sailing, sustainable shipping service in accordance with rules and regulations. Part 5. Expectation about Arctic. The Arctic region usually refers to the area north of the Arctic Circle. It covers a total area of 21 million square kilometers, account for 13 million square meters. The average water area in winter is about 3/4 to be covered by ice, namely 10 to 11 million square kilometers. In summer, it's about 1/2 covered by ice, namely 6 to 8 million square meters. Ice area changed smaller over past 20 years. So you can see in 1999, it's about 6.1 million square meters. In 2009, it's about 5.3 million square meters. Last year, it was 4.3 million. For this year, the smallest ice area is about 3 million even. To develop one information service and scientific research, there are a relative shortage of information in Arctic area, including ice situation, wave situation, climate, rescue capability, maintenance service, emerging medical service. To develop 2 ports, terminal, and rescue capability. Because the cargo volume in the Arctic region is generally small, ports are limited with the development of industry in the Arctic region. such as Yamal gas in Russia. The demand for shipping and port service is increased, including shipping supply and risk needed to be increased. Ports to be attentioned, including those Kirkenes in Norway, Finnfjord in Iceland, Murmansk, Sabat, Dudinka in Russia. To develop three, international cooperation as a nation location closing to the Arctic region, we are hoping to develop international cooperation with while utilization and protection of Arctic area, including cooperation with countries from Arctic region and also out of Arctic region, with the government and civil society for the purpose of scientific research and Navigation Practice Information Service Act. To develop four, the window period should be extended with assistance of ice break. The current window period for shipping is about 2.5 months, but it should be extended to longer duration between 4 and 5 months with assistance of ice break to bring more benefit to clients from EU and Far East. Thank you.
Well, once again, Mr. Fang Chen, thank you very much for your presentation. Well, the first speaker, Nikolai Munko, mentioned about their administration's perspective. Now we have an interesting story from the operators or the users' perspective. So there are still a lot of needs for ice-breaking support and also tax benefits, etc. And also for COSCO, as they are the leading shipping company, so they have enough fleet. So it's something we envy. So I think we should also make more efforts to catch up with them. So he highlighted 4 key issues. First of all, about scientific development and information service, and also development of infra and port structures and facilities, and also a need for international cooperation, also support by icebreaking fleet to expand the transportation and navigational period on the NSR. All, of course, so we agree. But for vessels and, of course, for ports, we have quite, tricky situations in relation with environmental concerns. So I think we should wait and see and have a further discussions. Of course, still there are issues not resolved yet. The governance and international collaborations, because each country has a different, interests. Russia, as the, operator of the NSR, they have their own interests, and China and other nations using the NSR have different, perspectives in terms of interests. So, last but not least, regarding the period of transit. So roughly, it's 4 months. About 4 months are available for transit, but obviously we have to have at least 9 months of navigational period to have sufficient level of commercial operations. So of course, melting ice is not all that good news to us. It has good and bad. So I think it was quite interesting to listen to China's experience. Okay, we have one last presentation on the session 1. That's from Mr. Sok Tae-bak from Sinocor on NSR development progress and plan for Sinocor. Okay, Mr. Bak, please. Once again, my name is Sok Tae-bak. I'm managing director at Sinocor. Before I begin, compared to the previous presentation from COSCO, so we are just taking our first step, baby steps compared to COSCO Shipping. They are very experienced, but still, taking this opportunity, I'd like to share with you NSR development progress and plan for Sinocor on the NSR. Okay, the contents of my presentations are as follows: overview, followed by introduction of the Sinocor, and I will move on to the current status of our NSR operation and development. Well, at Sinocor, we were established the Sinocor Company Limited in Hong Kong in 1984. That was the first container liner service between Korea and China. And in 10 years, in 1999, and now we have changed our company name to Sinocor, which is the current company name. And so, in addition to China, we extended our service to Japan and Northeast Asian nations. So, Sinocor container liner service currently covers 106 ports across 18 countries. In addition, we have 34 subsidiary companies and local offices. In particular, in 2008, when the international oil market was quite suffering, we completed conversion of the first ship from VLCC to VLOC and sailed with a full loading for the first time. So in Sinocor, we cover not just maritime transportation, we also cover logistical services, including ground, air, and multimodal transportation. So in Sinocor, our main focus of a business is a container service. So it's 63,000 TEU. As you can see on the slide, we have ship operation, 45 container ships. The total capacity is 35,055 TEU. So we also have a CNTR, 26 container ships, total 30,349 TEU. And currently, the container throughput we are dealing with, growing year after year. As you can see on the graph, in 2016, we accomplished 1.5 million TEU, and last year we merged with Hungha, and our throughputs almost reached 30 million. And this year, even though we had difficult situations due to COVID-19, we believe we are going to reach over 3 million TEU. Well, for container liner service, the map shows our service areas. On the east, we have Russia, China, Japan, and on the southern direction, we have Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. And to the west, we have Bangladesh, India, and Middle East. We have in total 20 branch offices. Looking more into detail, the service between Korea and Japan, we have Tokyo, Osaka, Yokohama, Nagoya, and we have 8 Japanese ports for our main operations, and Honshu, Shikoku, and we have 41 local ports. So in total, we have 49 ports connecting between Japan and Korea, and we are providing shuttle services 2 times every week. And next, the service between China and Korea. We have in Korea, Incheon, Pyeongtaek, Busan, Ulsan. Those are main ports, and we have 10 local branches in China. So from north, Dalian, Qingdao, Nanjing, Ningbo, and Shenzhen. In the south, we have in total 10 local branches for our container operation. In addition to that, between 3 nations of Korea, China, and Japan, we are constantly operating the container services between these 3 nations. Next, our services in the intra-Asia services, mainly Southeast Asia. So focusing on Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, we have also 15 countries, including the Philippines, and 39 ports, ranging from 1,000 TEU and more. And in Korea, HMM, KTC, and CMA CGM, POSCO, One Eye, Evergreen, SITC, and other foreign flag shipping companies are working together with us. In particular, Sinocor have 4 Russian operation routes centered on Gwangyang, Busan, and Ulsan. We have 3 operations to Vladivostok and Vostochny, 1 voyage per week, connecting cargoes from Russia via Korea to China and Southeast Asians. And the slide shows our organizational charts in our Vladivostok office and Vostochny office. As our subsidiaries, as I mentioned before, Heng'an Line, which is specialized in container and liner services. We have Gugyang Logistics, a container service, and for container management, Pacific Engineering. And we have port operations, BPTN, and for vessel management as well. In addition, we have a depot overseas in China, Shanghai, Qingdao, Tianjin, 100,000 square meters, 14,000 TU, and also in Southeast Asia, 150,000 TU. We are operating our depot stations in China and Southeast Asia. And let us move on to the current status of terminal operations under our company. We have a BPT for Busan Port and GWCT for Gwangyang. In Gwangyang, in particular, we are handling roughly 1 million TEU, and in Busan, roughly 3.7 million. Next, moving on to the development in the Northern Sea route, we are still in the early stage, but for active participation. In September 4th last year in Vladivostok, we signed an MOU together with Rosatom and Korea Maritime Equipment Research Institutes based on the principle of a mutual benefit. Let me share briefly with you the main contents of the MOU signed. That is to modernize and develop the infrastructure in the ports, to cooperate to that end, and also for joint research and activities for marketing, to facilitate Europe-Asia trade. And third, an organization of the training systems and to enhance energy efficiency and also change information for ship operation know-how and network development related to operation in the NSR. And our suggestion or the proposal for the future development of the NSR is related to the Far East Asia part. Instead of the two ends, the strategy of Russia, we are focusing on Busan or Vostochny as a transshipment hub. But the main reason why is that utilizing the existing infrastructure in Busan and Vostochny, we can save time and cost required for new infrastructure development. And in particular, if the route is extended to Busan port, it will further connect other ports in Asia, including Japan and Southeast Asia. So I think it will further promote the active growth of cargo transportation in the region. Last but not least, regarding the increasing environmental concerns in the region, our counter actions or measures against that, as mentioned before by previous speakers, we also plan to develop vessels using eco-friendly fuels. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Well, once again, to Mr. Park, thank you very much. Well, Sinocor is a kind of middle-class player and trying very hard. We also know that you are making great efforts to actively participate in the shipping and logistics operation in the NSR, and you shared with us your experience and your future development plan on the NSR in particular, and also how to connect with the Far East Russian regions. Well, initially, via online, we plan to take questions, but looks like there's no questions collected. That's the information I received. But if you have questions from the floor regarding the presentations made in the first session, we have 3 speakers. So once again, but I'd like to ask for your understanding that because we had some pre-recorded presentations. So if you have questions, we will deliver them via email to the speakers. Okay. Looks like there's no question from the floor. All right. For the first session, of course, we had from a supplier's perspectives in Russia, and we also heard about the user's perspective from China. And third, one of the Korean shipping company, Sinocore, what kind of interest they have and what kind of plans they have to develop their logistics operation in the NSR. So we had 3 interesting presentations in the session 1. I hope that this serves as a really good starting point. We can have a further development in the NSR and have more interesting discussions in 10 years from now. So with keeping that in mind, I will wrap up this first session. Thank you very much.